various products on what is it?
It's Thursday.
Monday. Oh my gosh. Does it seem like this week went by quickly? Kinda. I mean, you guys. I think you're into week 4. You only have 2 more weeks left in this class, and then you're. It's fast, huh? So simmering, we can skim off the scum off the top of them, but they're simmering in just enough water to cover so we don't have any flavor loss when I drain off the rest of it. And I'm looking for a specific texture. Let me pull one out and I can show you kind of what I'm talking about. So if I was to take this bean and to be able to check and see if it was properly cooked all the way, if I was to spread it out, you see that it's kind of mealy and dry on the inside. It's gelatinized, but not completely. You'll see little white powdery flakes in there. So this is not a creamy, delicious bean, right? Not yet. So we're getting there. So this has a little while to cook. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to clear off some of these recipes here and start in on some pasta. So we're going to put those like sheet cans. The only thing that I'm going to really be working on is wildlife as well. Just to be cool, I put my name on it too.
You should.
Cook. I ordered another one to come in as well. So those are that's our cheater version of making raviolis.
It's not cheating if it works.
So let's start off with our first recipe. One of the things I like to have, I need my Sharpie and I need plastic wrap. I shouldn't have them on anyway. Alright, so I'm going to season up my pasta. Salt. And this is AP flour. This one, you know, I might do, if I wanted a coarser dough, this one's a silkier dough, so if I wanted a coarser dough, I might do 3 to 1, 3 parts AP to 1 part semolina, which is semolina flour is coarser, a little coarser grained. This one's a finer grain. Or depending on if I wanted something like extruded pasta. So an extruded pasta would be, do you like, you could ever see the, what are those called, the Play-Doh barbershop? Remember those? And how that, you know, they would put the Play-Doh in and they crank the handle and the hair and the stuff would come, that's like extruded pasta. So different types of dyes, like different shapes will create, you know, coming out of that Mr. Potato or Mr. Barbershop. Mr. Barbershop guy. So a little bit of olive oil. There's a lot of things that are dependent on how the texture of your pasta comes out, like humidity, how old your flour is. All those things come into account, and maybe like a splash of milk. So we have in here a lot of liquid, so it's going to be a softer dough. So one of the things that Thomas Keller talks about in making his pasta, or this particular pasta in general in his French laundry book, is when you think you've kneaded it enough, knead it for 10 minutes more. So it's really, it'll go from shaggy to coarse, like, oh my gosh, this is never going to come together, to a nice, silky, pliable texture, which I'll show you. Yes, you can do this in a Roboku. Yes, you can do it in a mixer. But will you fully understand how to properly make pasta dough? No. So the other thing that I'm going to need is my bench scraper to help along. But basically kind of the process. You want to try not to break the well. Right under here.
I just need a stainless steel countertop in the house now.
What's that?
Stainless steel countertop. That can really make a mess.
Yeah, we've had pasta parties at our house, you know, with the kids and stuff, and all this flour and everything else does make quite a mess, but it's fun though. So when you're adding in colors, like we'll make the black one, when you're adding in colors, you're going to want to add it in the wet stage. Trying to add it in the dry stage is just not going to work. But that being said, you can add in things into your flour, like if you wanted to do a chocolate pasta, for instance, you would add in some cocoa powder into your dough and add sugar for doing a sweet pasta. You could add in, you know, obviously things like pepper or different types of spices or whatnot into your dough as well. And you're like, how is this ever going to come together? Well, this is where it's really important to measure, weigh out your dough and measure your liquids. Now, we talked about eggs earlier on. The other thing that's dependent on the moisture content in the dough, I'm going to move some of this aside because it's feeling a little dry, is how big are your eggs, right? So we know that the difference in our eggs could be up to 2 ounces, right? So I'm using a process called phrasing, and you'll hear that when you get into your baking and pastry class. So I'm going to move this aside just in case I don't need it right now, because I can feel that I'm fairly dry. I'll add it in as we go along if I feel like I need it. And so you start to form a rough kind of dough, and I can feel whether or not if it's sticking to my hands at this point. I'll probably add in a little bit more water, or a little bit more flour, I'm sorry. This flour mixture they have off to the side. So I usually try to keep a dry container here for all the extra stuff that I may or may not use. So this is not done. See this kind of bumpy, rough surface? We want to go from this to nice and smooth. So at this stage, clean off my area, and I want you to feel it. If it feels like that, it is not done. Pasta dough also needs to rest because I'm kneading it and it contains gluten. If I tried to roll it out right now, I would roll it and it would spring back. I would roll it and spring back because I'm developing all those firm glutens. Can you stir that while you're right there, sir? Oh, thank you. So I want to develop those glutens. That's going to give me the structure, just like bread dough, but it's also going to make it have a nice fine texture as well. I always get really red when I do this too. It's like my upper body workout for the day. I don't have to go to the gym. So we rest it for about, I would say maybe a half hour or so. You can rest this one overnight, and that's fine. But if I was to rest this overnight, this particular dough, pasta in general, like the one that has semolina, no problem letting it rest overnight. This particular dough, if I was to let it rest overnight, it's going to get really sticky. The other thing is that it contains a lot of eggs. I mean, for this amount of flour, that amount of eggs, it's a lot, right? So what happens is the egg starts to oxidize with the flour and it turns gray, sometimes green. So I'm pulling a piece out and pushing it back into itself. And tomorrow when I come around and feel the dough, I'm looking for, you feel it starting to get smoother with your fingers there? We're not quite there. How are we doing up there? So I'm going to form it into a ball, and I'll make one more. I'll do a black one. I have some squid ink in the freezer. So this is kind of what I'm looking for as far as how nice and smooth it is. Do a little bit more, just form it into a better ball for you. So feel how the texture of it, nice and dry. Throw a little bit of salt in here right now, just to start seasoning this polenta up. Thanks, sir. Not too much, it's worth. See exactly. That's not too much. It's like a teaspoon.
For Andre the Giant.
Yeah. What's that?
For Andre the Giant.
Okay, so nice and smooth, yeah?
Yes,
So
sir.
I want to wrap it up. Otherwise, if I don't wrap it up, it's going to form a skin, and when I roll it out, it's just like your Play-Doh or your clay that you left out when you were a kid, right? Yes, Paula. You had. It's just like when you made pies over Thanksgiving and you rest the dough, right? Or somebody made you pie, they left the other way around.
Baking and pastry.
So I'm going to grab out some squid ink. If you want to do black, like tomorrow, a Wajimaya does carry squid ink. What's the water for?
Wajimaya might add water, so I
Oh,
might
gigantic
Asian store.
They have it in the frozen section in little tiny packets. We can do some spinach puree. Huh?
Seafood City, the one right down at the mall.
They might
They have a
have.
lot of Asian meat things, so I'm gonna go check there.
Okay.
I walked in there yesterday and they were singing Tagalog like 12 days of Christmas or whatever. It was really strange.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I went in there the other day. It's different.
Yeah,
That
it's
was
different.
fruit.
No, you go get the pork butt over there.
What's that?
Get the pork butt over there and try that.
Oh.
The other thing that's delicious over there, according to Chef Kim, is the Jollibee.
It is good.
Or we'll give you some-
We just had it for lunch yesterday.
You don't like it? You do.
Agree. I don't know. Yeah, he eats some craziest food, but it's good. They had a spam sandwich.
Musubi we'll make in here during rice. If I think I have some spam up there.
Let's make some fried bologna sandwiches.
I wasn't allowed these things when I was a child, so I'd go to people's houses and
Yeah, I've never had
they'd
spam.
have. You've never had spam?
Oh gosh.
You have to try
No.
it.
Oh, it's good.
I'll make musubi. So if you do find it, it'll be frozen in little tiny packets, maybe like the size of, a 2-inch by 2-inch by 2-inch square.
I could go squidding tonight and
And
get
it's
some
about-
squid.
As much as we
That's what
could
it
eat,
is.
right?
I
You can get some squid tonight? Is that what you
might.
said?
I could. I can go squidding tonight. They took my pier out, so where we used to go, it's kind of it's too cold tonight though. It's gonna be what, in the 18s again? I ain't going out there and sitting out there in that.
I'll go squidding. I'll go to the store and buy some squidding. Sure.
to height this
Fair
way.
weather, so
You know, I sold squid
bring the
this
little
summer,
heater
and
with
it was
the
just used as
propane
bait.
heater and
So
sit out there.
Did you go with your mom to Alaska?
yeah, I actually, I've been going longer than her actually.
Oh.
But yeah, we went to Bristol
They
Bay
get like a half a 5-gallon bucket. I think there's a limit. There's a certain limit. Yeah.
like the little.
You have to have a shellfish license too. You're supposed to. But if you're in a public place, yeah. Public pier, I don't think you can have a license yet in the dark. But you're on Lake Union, right?
No. Well, I'm up in Lake Port Island.
Oh, okay.
And Lake Washington is very north end of Lake Washington.
Oh, okay.
They have
There you go.
No, it's
I did wood
salt
chips.
water.
Yeah, saltwater.
You could go down to the Fisherman's Pier down there downtown and go do it.
Which is a big crowd down there.
Yeah, that's when it gets to be a pain in the butt. But I could put my boat in the water and put it wide over the boat. It's fine.
Yeah, that stuff goes out. The whole bait for the summer.
Your whole
Yeah,
bait
we-
for the
we
summer
use-
squid?
Yeah.
Yep.
Use them for lingcod fishing and stuff.
I can't remember the last time I went fishing. Honestly. My husband loves fly fishing. Like,
It's a lot of patience.
he's fishing.
I gotta go
Twilight.
fishing early.
Have you met me?
I was like, my fishing.
I can fly fish and I'm not
She
fishing.
is a little bit more active though.
I'm proven that you can be a fly fisherman and not have to have patience. I do it all the time.
Close to
Yeah, my
work,
fishing
not
is usually
having
staying on the boat reading my book.
You?
Believe
See,
it
that's
or not.
that's why fly fishing is literally because you're walking down.
I find that hard to believe.
Yes, as we saw yesterday.
What, that you're patient?
I think that's
But
called
I'm not-
perfectionism.
But I can be not patient.
Oh, talking about the coordination yesterday. I know. He told me about it. It was quite a fun day. No, but I heard something about fishing. I remembered that I don't like it. Well, I love
I don't
fishing.
mind. I don't.
I'm reading a book.
Yeah.
I love fishing. I don't like eating.
I like.
So I gotta find places where other people.
I like
fishing.
crabbing more. Crab pots out.
Crabbing before.
That's going on the boat and drinking.
Yeah.
Going from one spot to the next. To the next. Well, let's go back to this one. Let's check.
Let's do.
See what we got.
Well, the crab pots up in Alaska are so big. It was scary to see them all stacked up. And
The only two that are delicious at home. Crabbing.
Yeah, I gotta do San Juan's.
Yeah.
Just hang out up there.
San Juan's is where I've gone. Crabbing mostly.
I want to go.
And then I always end
Yeah.
up being the one to have to clean and cook the crab.
Well, imagine that.
That's what I make my wife do. I hate crab. I hate
You
crab.
do?
It drives me nuts.
I was like, my
Clean
mom makes
crab,
it,
yeah. If I can have crab, it'll be king crab. That's easy to eat.
I was just reading
But Dungeness
this
is
month's
so good.
Savior magazine. I don't know if any of you get that. But they were talking about king crab and this documentary or documentary, this article. This one guy who's on the boat and just kind of like how the challenges of that type of crabbing. Holy cow!
It's scary.
Yeah. Gotta find
Especially when
them.
it's all icy and
The whisk in the pot. There you go. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. All right, Jackie, take over. Yeah, you. Come on.
Well, I'm-
Bigger than you.
Get into it, girl. Oh, ooh, getting brave with the flour.
Can we find the papers?
Come on.
yep, they're right there in the
Right
corner.
there.
You need to speak. Regale us with
Tell us the story, Jackie.
it. You know.
All right, so last night.
That's
Are you being me?
That's
How
how I was
funny,
telling
that's
her.
hilarious.
Story.
You're gonna tell us a story while you're
Last
cooking.
night. See what had happened was. That's funny.
Oh, yeah, you're sticking.
Ooh, we got bubble bubble toilet trouble over here.
Don't talk about Jackie like that. She's right there.
So that's supposed to be creamy, the polenta.
This will be our creamy one, but I haven't added creamy elements to it, so. Our beans are almost there. Somebody's
it in this squeeze bottle?
No.
Okay.
Well, we'll blame him though.
Okay, cool.
They're gonna do that.
Sorry.
Damn it, Rob.
I know.
Add a little bit more water to this. You can add your like.
OCD is coming out right there.
A little bit more water. They're almost there. And my polenta is almost there too. That's the next thing to taste. So careful because yeah, there's flour in it anyways.
Does that get like a cream of wheat texture?
It's
Like
ready.
like cream of wheat. We'll do it that is.
Add a little bit more salt.
Go look at this thing.
Get down to it.
There's everybody's butt.
What? I didn't add that much. You taste it now. It's like I always add salt to like my oatmeal. Go figure. But I do. It brings out the flavors of just about everything. Chocolate, fruit. All right. So that one's going. My glaze is reduced.
What was that? Just stock?
So, let's make a quick little pasta sauce. How do you think about this? Or let's make our Work it, work it. This is going to be enough filling for tomorrow, so it looks like. What?
I made this once.
Get there.
Do you need me to move down?
Nope.
Because you're so tall, right?
No, I think I'm his weight.
Well, no,
Yeah.
she's just resting his
It's a
hand.
good armrest.
We need a bigger bowl.
At least I'm useful for something.
But yeah, bigger bowl is mix.
Do you need me to move?
No, I was using you as a